So I've been hit up quite a few times by quite a few people saying, how do I say it? And they say, stop making cards Robin praise. I don't speak broke, nigga. No, seriously, the fact that you guys think that I make cards skyrocket in price for some cynical reason is kind of funny. What's going on with you guys? TheCaliEffect, king of games here, and today we are going to be talking about cards that you should buy before they skyrocket in price. But before we do, I have to tell you guys it is Workout Wednesday! And it's gonna be a very, very quick Workout Wednesday as my coach decided to leave me and go to Chicago. He went to the home of Squamata and didn't tell me how was Squamata doing. I think this is actually the perfect video for people that don't go to the gym. So while he was away, I actually got extremely innovative. I've been betting Meshack push-ups because do random push-ups. I've also been doing pull-ups on a gate outside, and of course dips on any chair I can find. The main focus about working out is doing just that. It doesn't matter what equipment you have, you still have your body. Use your body, forehead. And as you guys should know, in this particular video, I'm going to be using my body, or my mind per se, on picking up certain cards before it is too late. So of course, if you want to see more content like this, then be sure to destroy. I don't feel like that was good enough. Destroy that subscribe button, but also be sure to hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. So we just gonna not ignore that I super destroy. Like, that subscribe button has never been beat that bad. So beat it that bad. I also wanted to mention to you, ladies and gents, that we stream on Twitch on the reg. So if you want to see more CaliEffect content, not only can you find me on YouTube, you could also find me there. Without further ado, let's jump on in and talk about these cards that I'm definitely picking up, but you can do whatever you want. They gonna skyrocket in price eventually though. The first card I want to talk to you guys about, I actually been peeping for a while. This is a card that I've told players to buy a long time ago, and it's starting to see some baby bumps in price. Nightmare Corruptor Iblis is a monster that made its debut in the Flames of Destruction set. When it is summoned, it allows you to special summon a Link monster from the graveyard, but its most important effect is while this card is on the field, the player that controls this monster cannot special summon monsters except for Link summon. Also, when you, as the owner of Nightmare Corruptor Iblis, normal summons and then links off with this card, it's special summon to your opponent's side of the field, meaning that in order for them to start special summoning, they need to at least link first. If a deck actually needs to special summon to get their combos started and you give them a Nightmare Corruptor Iblis, it's going to be extremely hard for them to play Yu-Gi-Oh! With that card on their side of the field. Let's also not underestimate its first effect of being able to special summon a Link monster that can point to her. That actually brings up some pretty easy Link climbing as long as you play generic Links to link her off and give to your opponent. Now, I've noticed Iblis have been creeping ever since I initially seen them for 40 cents. The ultra rare copies are about $2, with the secret rare copies being around $8. If this card becomes a very popular card, I can see the ultra rares are replacing the secret rare price at about $8, with the secret rare first edition Flame of Destruction cards being $20 each. One thing I would also like to keep in mind is that Nightmare Mermaid is on the forbidden list. If that card also ever happened to come off the forbidden list, then this card could be really, really sought after. Now, to be fair, I've been saying this about Nightmare Corruptor Iblis since the banning of Nightmare Mermaid. It's been quite some time. The next card I want to share with you guys actually is in the Dawn of Majesty set. I know some of you guys may be a little bit disappointed on how this set is. To be quite frank, I'm pretty disappointed on almost every set this year, but that's for another video. But let's talk about Chronometer Mana, a rank 5 light monster out of the Dawn of Majesty set. Basically what this card does is it allows you to attach an Exceed monster or Chronometer monster from your graveyard to it as material, but if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach materials from this card to be able to negate the activation. This card is really good at stopping hand traps like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and Ghost Bell, but for combo-based decks, it can also stop really powerful hand traps like Cyframe Gear Gamma and Nibiru. Ultimately, Vamana is an extremely strong card. The only problem with this particular card is that it doesn't have a deck that can play it. I mean, Chronometer can play it, but That's not what I meant by deck. Currently, there's no easy way for a hyper-competitive card to make use of it, but once a deck figures out how to make rank 5s with ease, then Chronometer Mana just might be on the top of the list. Currently, this card is $1.50, and I am looking at it just like how Jiraiya looks at, you know what he looks like if you've seen the anime. I can't say it on YouTube, though. Depending on how long it takes, a deck that can make use of a mana can make this card skyrocket to at least $5, and then from there, 10 to 15 range is not without its limits. But mana is actually a diamond in the rough, especially in a Yu-Gi-Oh set that's really rough. Fortunately for us, that's not the only Xseed monster that I am looking into buying. I actually seen this on my stream on Twitch, and when I read this card effect, it was, what is going on here? Sprickenship Explorer is a rank 8 monster with 1600 attack and 2500 defense. Immediately upon looking at this card, I was like, this card's pretty good. Shame it's gonna get reprinted this year before something can actually use it. And then that's when I started to realize, this card's not getting reprinted this year. Sprickenship Explorer was printed inside of the Blazing Vortex set, and if I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't have a lot when I opened my case. Basically, what this card does, it allows you to choose a monster or spell and trap card zone, and then you can destroy that zone and the cards adjacent to the zone. This card is essentially a mini Raigeki or Harpy's Feather Duster. It's busted. I didn't even really care about the other effect. The fact that this card can destroy up to 3 cards in a particular zone is, what are we doing here? And the fact that the zone that you select doesn't even have to be occupied. Boy! Now, another thing that I like about this card is that it is a low investment, high reward type card. Those are the cards that I really like. This card's current value is only $1, but there are very few quantities of said card. If you ask me, I think Explorer should have off the bat been a $5 card just strictly off its potential, not even talking about what it could do for a particular rank 8 deck. But once that deck does come around, I can see Explorer being a $10 ultra rare. Keep in mind though, there is a bit of risk for Explorer as this card is bound to be reprinted in 2022, but for its low price, that's a risk I'm willing to take. To see how troubled that the Dawn of Majesty set was initially, it was extremely hard to find another card worth its salt inside of this set. I think that there actually is one that's decently good, mainly because I still believe in fusion deployment. Synchro Overtake is a secret rare from the Dawn of Majesty set with a pretty decent effect similar to how fusion deployment is. What it does is that you can reveal one synchro monster from your extra deck, and then you get to take a monster that is specifically listed on the card and add it to your hand or special summon it. Now, of course, just like fusion deployment, you cannot do anything except for synchro summon, just like how fusion deployment requires you to fusion summon for that turn. Now, the reason why Synchro Overtake has you do the Drake, is because if it's specific text that says you can't do anything except for synchro summon for the extra deck, as opposed to saying you can't do anything for the rest of the turn except for synchro summon. This forces you to pretty much either A, play a synchro deck, or B, not dedicate your resources to the extra deck, which could be detrimental. And also the reason why I think that fusion deployment hasn't had as much success. Now, those particular words on the text is probably why Synchro Overtake is so cheap, as opposed to being uberly busted like how fusion deployment would have been if it said the same thing. But also does inspire a ton of hope for a player that wants synchro monsters to be good, because they suck. That's just the best way to say it. Call me a hopeless romantic, but Synchro Overtake's current price is at $13. I still wouldn't buy at that particular price, but as we start to get later into these months, this card will be a little bit cheaper and easier to pick up. Of course, that is betting on a synchro archetype not being able to take over the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, but seeing how the last few sets have been, and the new strategies that come out for those sets. Now, the last cards that I want to talk to you guys about, I gotta be shaking my head yes to, as these cards have rotated in and out of the Yu-Gi-Oh format for quite some time. You'd be pretty foolish not to be picking them up before, but let me put you on notice now. Rivalry of the Warlords is a Yu-Gi-Oh card that I talked about in my last video. I told you guys to pick up collector's rare copies because they good. This time around, I'm gonna double down and tell you to pick up the super rare copies because, don't tell nobody, they good. Rivalry of the Warlords prevents a player from controlling more than one monster type. This card is fairly good in today's Yu-Gi-Oh, but we have to think about the future. As I said before, Rivalry of the Warlords does rotate in and out of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. There's going to be a point in time where players are going to really want this card, and the collector's rares are going to be pretty high. The super rares are the next highest rarity. The same thing can also be said about our lovable card in Gozen match. It's the exact same thing as Rivalry of the Warlords, and if Konami is as predictable as I normally get right, then it will have a collector's rare reprint inside of the next set, like King's Court. Regardless, you still should pick up these super rare cards, as their highest rarity was reprinted inside of Hidden Summoners, the same set that the Prank Kids monsters are in. And look at their price now. I can see once things get popping and people really start looking for these cards, the super rare copies of these cards will be $5, as their respective collector's rare copies will be don't ask, don't tell, it's gonna be expensive. And fortunate enough, you guys are gonna be in the inside scoop, so definitely start picking up those cards, and there can be only one as well. I mean, you guys already know what happened to there can be only one. I remember telling y'all, pick them up when they was 20 cents, and look at us now. Well, that is all that I have for cards that I am going to be picking up. I mean, you can pick them up too and then sit back and watch as the chaos ensues when they skyrocket in price. Broke niggas are going to say that I did it to the market. The smart ones are going to have it and when it goes up. Of course, if you want to see more amazing TheCaliEffect content, then go ahead and check out these videos. And if you want to see these videos early, well then, I mean, my Patreon has a Discord option. Maybe you should have joined in. As always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next video.